So this is my few minutes a day for peace, and I want to talk about a couple of things. One is the Dassault family, so Dassault Aviation. I wanted to see who owned the benefit of these wars in terms of the French involvement, who was financially profiting off the French involvement of these wars. Obviously that's first the defence companies, then it's followed by the people who get the resource contracts, so I haven't looked into that yet. And then obviously it's the construction contracts that come afterwards, probably companies like GDF Suez. But the first and most obvious connection with this war is the Dassault aircrafts. So Dassault Aviation, so the CEO of that is Eric Trappier. Eric Trappier is selling, no doubt, these aircrafts to the French government and to lots of other governments around the world with missile jets and whatever, basically death machines. Let's not get too technical, although what scares me about when reading about this war is some of these articles are so filled with military state-of-the-art technology, names of the different jets or missiles or whatever. It's not cool. There's a whole lot of people who are part of a different world that think about this war in a different way, and it's all to do with billions of dollars. But let's talk about the Dassault family. So I just introduced myself to them today by researching them. They look like a nice group of people. Their names are Serge, who looks very relaxed, had a good life probably, Olivier, Thierry, Marie-Helene and Laurent would appear to be financial beneficiaries of the combat jets that are killing millions of people. Hundreds in each strike, no doubt. And a lot of those people are innocent women and children. You can spend hours on the internet looking at the devastating photos of children blown apart by bombs that are dropped from combat air jets that Dassault Aviation are making. Now, how do you reconcile that? I mean, they look like a nice group of people, but we live in this context now where we have to say, can you be a nice person from a nice looking family, distinguished French family, no doubt, making money off mass murder? Is that okay? Well, I don't think so. I'm sure I'm not alone. Perhaps the family themselves don't think so. So I thought of some really good strategic business suggestions for the Dassault family. One, shut down your combat aircraft production part of your business. Because whilst you produce death machines, you are responsible for mass murder and the destruction of the peace and security of the entire world, which is happening right now. We are at a turning point. It's terrifying. My neighbour was, we're in the south of France. My neighbour was at dinner with her family, 3 beautiful children. They've come from Denmark, and they're here to enjoy their break after a year of hard work, no doubt. And last night, suddenly, whilst their dinner was interrupted with people running for their lives near the bar street, Rue Carrador in Cannes, and they didn't know what was going on. So of course they said to their children, run, drop everything, run, because oh my God, there was terror around. People were terrified. It turns out it was just a fight, but that is the switch in society that we're seeing at the moment. Because we're bombing people, our governments are bombing people, and our businesses are providing the means to bomb people in Syria. There are a lot of people who have been murdered, a lot of people who are angry, a lot of people whose lives have been destroyed. And whether they're intentionally doing the local terror attacks, it is changing our culture to be one where we don't feel like we have peace and security, or whether they're paid militants set up to do it to drive the war machine, which then just sells more combat fighter jets. So that's a benefit. Who's doing construction outside my window right when I want to talk? Okay, maybe you can't hear it. Anyway, so so first of all, I think Dassault family should focus on their business aircraft production, stop selling combat jets all around the world to murder people, because at some stage the laws are going to change, and at some stage those people who have willfully killed or provided means for causing physical destruction and bringing about the physical destruction of people are going to be held legally accountable. This group of laws that are running these mass conflicts at the moment, they are totally out of date. They're going to be changed in the future. They will be. The other thing I was thinking that the Dassault family could do is that they could contribute their entire annual profits of the last year to rebuilding the lives of Syrians. And the other thing that they can do is do that again next year, probably the year after, maybe even 5 years, since it's a 5-year war going on that seems to have been provoked by Allied forces trying to steal Syria for their own value. So that drilling outside is very badly timed. Okay, so that's what I think should happen. I think the Dassault family should close down their combat aircraft section of their business. France should lead the world by example as a country of peace and elegance and beauty and good champagne and everything beautiful. Because when you see your national culture changing to one of violence and hate and separation and fear and terror, don't you just feel like absolutely I don't know, I feel kind of traumatized by it, because in the world we want to believe France to be this beautiful nation of elegance and beauty and creativity and art and thought and culture and everything like that, and right now there is an irreversible change happening. Tourists are going to be afraid to be here. Since my neighbour's been here, that last night's situation was one of them. The terror attack in Nice was another situation. There was a massive fight that has happened, and I mean, there's this whole sort of civil unrest going on that we see right outside our door, and that's happening as a result of aggressing Syria. You can directly relate it to that. And then the terror attacks that come back that are causing racial separation here. But the major benefit of them is to definitely go over to the other side of the world and accelerate the war machine so that we can steal Syria, rather than just going in there and being normal and saying, we'd like to buy your oil and gas for a lower price. Can we negotiate? If you don't help us get a correct price, and our economy is going to suffer like this, I mean, there's got to be some natural sort of trade balance. There's got to be some agreement that can be made without bombing and destroying the entire nation state of Syria. So I was just kind of looking at who are the leaders who are saying at the moment. I've got to say I'm a big fan of Putin. That's so random. He just seems to be constantly saying, stop driving the world towards war. You've got to stop. He's chosen the only responsible side he could choose to get rid of the insurgents in Syria, which is the nation state. I mean, you can't just decide that guy's a bad leader for this and this reason, and send in military aircrafts to start bombing his country so you can rid him of his regime and take over control of the country. No. I mean, it's kind of tiring to repeat myself, but okay, so that's what I think. I think we need to start really looking at the families who are involved in profiting off these wars. I think we should be starting to ask them to be accountable for that money. I think we should be starting to ask them to stop driving our entire world towards a state of complete destruction, lack of peace, terror, because it begins at the top. It begins where the real money is. It begins with our leadership. So we don't need combat aircrafts in the world. So I think that they should stop manufacturing them. Well, that's it for today. Okay, I'm back to the sun.